Hello everyone, Superior Stacker here. Today guys, we'll be talking about the best types of silver for prepping and barter. If you guys like videos like this or anything else similar about silver and stacking, please subscribe to my channel. It will actually help it out a lot and I would really appreciate it. And it helps other viewers be able to find videos such as this or similar. So please subscribe. Thank you. Well guys, let's get to it. Silver is universal money. It's worth money anywhere you go in the world. So you could exchange it for whatever fiat currency in whatever country you're in. Um, it's universal money. You can't escape that fact. So it being universal money, it makes it the perfect item to stack. And the definition for prepping is the action or process of preparing for something or for something. Most people, when you say prepping, they immediately go to like, oh, the worst case scenario, doomsday scenario. And honestly, it's just preparing for whatever outcome might be. And most prepper stackers, such as myself, we're just preparing in case of a fiat currency collapse, economical, geopolitical tensions around the world may cause these things. So we're not trying to be negative in any way possible at all. We're just trying to prepare and just thinking ahead. And in fact, if you're, for example, if you're saving for retirement, that person is prepping. They are preparing for the future. Well, and also barter is pretty much the trade for service or for goods. Most people say without using money, but of course, like if you're talking constitutional, that is money. But the main value is based on the silver content of the coins. So most prepper stackers, they stack for the SHTF scenario, which I'm not, you all know what that means. We really don't hope it's going to happen, but we want to be prepared. So some of the situations that have happened in our history in the U.S. have, when it comes to economical meltdowns, I guess you could say, one of them being the Great Depression, a horrible time in our nation in the 1930s, and also the Great Recession in 2008. And there was a few others, but these are the ones that are mostly stand out, especially the Great Recession of 2008. I remember that. It was a devastating and stressful time for everyone. You could tell everybody was stressed. You felt the vibe. And, you want to prepare for those scenarios that you hopefully don't have to go through. But again, our currency in the US, the dollar, is the world's currency. Every central bank, every country out there has some out there in their country because it's used everywhere. It's AKA the petrodollar. But will it be for that long? So that's something that, worries us as Americans. And, honestly, even if you're not American in other countries, you also worry about the economy because the world total, um, they're in debt. The world is greatly in debt. It's over $200 trillion worldwide. That's a huge amount. There's some that are a little vary even more, but either way, it's not good. Well, guys, um, the Great Recession was a definitely depressing time. It worried a lot of individuals, especially the individuals growing up. Some of the great grandparents out there, they remember probably hearing stories. Even myself, I remember hearing stories from one of my teachers that his parents and would tell him about. So everybody, one way or another, might have heard or, in history class of the Great Depression. So those were definitely horrible times. And then the 2008 Great Recession is what caused the precious metals to go up at all new time highs in 2011, actually. And honestly, I remember silver hitting almost $50 an ounce. It came very close to it. Didn't quite hit it, but it came very close. And then gold, $2,000 an ounce, maybe a little bit over. But either way, it was in the ballpark. Of course, we have broken new records now. Well, guys, let's get to it. The three different types of silver to have for prepping and barter, the best ones are, coming in at number 3 will be fractional silver. This goes all the way down to a gram. You know, the 1/20th, like this Libertad right here. Tiny little thing, but beautiful thing at the same time. This is 1/20th of an ounce of pure silver. And then we also have the 1/10 of an ounce of pure silver. And, we have different weights, and we, of course, half ounces. So there's a lot of different sizes out there, all the way down to a gram. I don't know if there's anything smaller in silver. I know in gold there is, but I think silver, the smallest it gets is to a gram of silver. What makes it good about having these is it's good for if you have a small purchase to make, like something that you don't need a full ounce, and so it makes it great for that, and also for people that probably don't trust the 90% or 80%, depending on what part of the world you're in. I know like Canada has some sterling silver coins, 80%, and I know other countries have some that are even less than 80. But that's just to give peace of mind for the people that are trading that want something that's pure silver in fractional. So that's why I chose that for number 3. And coming in at number 2 will be your country's silver bullion. For example, I'm in the US. Of course, we're going to get the American silver eagle. So it's a beautiful coin for sure. Love these protectors, by the way. And of course, if you're in Canada, you'll have the maple leaf. Trying to get a close up here. There we go. These new Canadian maple leaves are just beautiful. I think you have heard me say that in other videos for sure. And for example, like if you're in Mexico, you get the Mexican Libertad. Here's the older style right here. And I don't know about you, but the Libertads have become very popular, a very highly collectible coin. A lot of people love these. Of course, they carry a very high premium, but just look at that. Beautiful coin, for sure. So, definitely get your country silver bullion. For example, like if you're in South Africa, you would get the South African Krugerrand. And if you're in Australia, you could get the koala, the kangaroo, kookaburra. So many different types that I know Australia does more than one type for sure. And for example, if you're in Great Britain, you get the Britannia. And you get the idea. Get your nation's silver bullion, whatever they make. And honestly, like if you're in the US, you would be okay with getting the Canadian, as its northern neighbor, or the Mexican Libertad. This would be great to have either one of these three, especially if you're in the US, you would want the Silver Eagle, but if having the Maple or the Mexican Libertad, you'll be just fine since they are neighboring countries and they're very recognizable coins and highly collectible. But of course, if you're going into that kind of scenario for barter, you want something that's very recognizable. So if it's your nation's coin or the neighboring country, in case if yours doesn't, or if you have the available ones in the neighboring countries, nothing wrong with that. Well, and coming at number 1, guys, will be constitutional silver. In the US, we have constitutional silver. All other countries have their form of silver that they have made. Some might be 80%, like I know Canada does sterling silver. Well, they had sterling silver, and they've had 80% silver. And other nations have something similar, either in the 90s or in between, all the way even down to 50%. So definitely look for your nation's silver, whatever they used to make. And out here, one of the ones I really like, and it's my favorite, is the silver dimes. Of course, I really love the winged Liberty winged or winged Liberty, but I call them Mercury dimes. It goes by many names. Constitutional silver. But one thing is just other people call it junk silver, even though you guys know I don't like that name, but It is what it is. I don't know if the name came by, junk silver, just chunk change maybe. I don't know. But it is very recognizable. This is probably one of the best things to have. Also because it's not like the Roosevelt, even if you have silver, most people might be like, well, let me check the date. Let me just make sure that it is. Sorry guys, I'm trying to focus here. There we go. So by looking at the date and the edging, you can see, there's no copper lining. It's not clad. So then you would know. But easily to recognize is the mercury. There was no clad coins made. It was all silver. And, the quarters, same thing. To be like the Roosevelts, they would have to see the dates, the edging. So, a few factors. But again, during tough times, people find a way. Another one that would be good on the Constitution of silver would be like the Benjamin, because the Franklins, they were made during the time when everything was made in silver. Unlike the Kennedys, we still make the Kennedys. So of course you would have to look at the year and the edging. So either way, they would find out. But personally, I recommend the Mercuries or the Winged Liberty, whatever you call it, are definitely good picks for on the Constitutional Silver. And another thing I'm going to recommend when you go to the coin store, see the wear on this one right here. You still pay the same price, but definitely a lot less silver. A lot of it's wore out. Of course, it's a 1928. It's been around for such a long time. But guys, really, when you go to the coin store, get to enjoy it when you're picking out your coins. The other day, I saw a gentleman picking out, he probably got like 7 of these tubes full of mercuries, and they were just helping him fill them up. He didn't care the condition. He just wanted them. Of course, during a barter situation, I'm pretty sure they'll still take it. But in my opinion, it's always better to try to get the nicest looking ones. And honestly, you're getting more silver. Because look, it's pretty wore out. Still a beautiful coin, but still wore out. I'd rather have this one right here. But anyway, it's all about option. You can do as you please. And again, it's your money. So, but those are my 3 options right there, guys. I think they will be easily recognizable, and it would definitely help you in the SHTF scenario. So there you go. Please give me your thoughts on this. What do you guys think? Or in your area, is it easy to obtain these if you're outside of the USA, or even in the USA? I know some places don't have the best coin stores. I've heard of some people having to drive an hour or two just to get to a coin store. Well, that makes it a little more difficult. But we do have some amazing online dealers that you can get some pretty beautiful coins. But of course, like if you're going for Constitutional, it's hard to pick. These are definitely what makes it special, is when you're going in there and you're picking them out yourself at the coin store. So please leave your comments and your thoughts on this, guys. I really would love to hear from you guys, and I hope that you guys are all doing very well. Please take care, and I will see you next time.